Hello everybody, good morning. Hari Om.
Good morning, Kumudji. Hari Om. Happy Navratri.
Hari Om, Kumud.
Happy Navratri to all, in fact.
It's nice to see you here, Kumudanti.
Everyone. Happy Navratri to everyone.
Hari Om, Mama.
Hope we have a beautiful Navratri today with our classes, and I wish everyone a prosperous, very productive Navratri. So let's begin with prayer. Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvikhnam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir-bhavatu me sada Samasta-jana kalyane Niratam karunamayam Namami chinmayam devam Sadgurum Brahma-vidvaram Om Sahana-vavatu Sahanau bhunaktu Sahaviryam karavavahai Tejasvinavadhetamastu ma vidvishavahai Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om, everyone. Shubh Navratri for those who have just joined. So today, at the end of our session, someone had sent one request, which we were very happy for actually. We will open up question and answers for those who would like to verbalize their questions themselves instead of having to type and figure out how to send this to Uncle. Those who would want to, we will allow you all to unmute at the end of the 45 minutes, and then you can ask your question directly. Actually, I prefer this also because there is a different tuning, when you see the person ask the question, it's as though you can see their heart, what it is they're really trying to figure out here. So it makes it easier for me to answer also. So please, if there's questions, for yourself, you can ask your questions at the end. If there are those who are a bit more shy and wants to send the question to Ramachandraji, then you can send it to Uncle also, and he will read. Good? So let's begin. So what we have seen, the first chapter now completed, we have seen that first chapter, Take Charge. Pujya Guruji has labeled that chapter. And so we have seen that taking charge of life is not so much my ability to take charge of those physical circumstances around me, so much so as my ability to take charge of my inner circumstances. We have seen the power of the mind and how once that mind is held strong, once at my core I am steady, then whatever comes to me from outside I can deal with very well. And we've all had that experience when mind is a little bit turbulent on some days. Even the smallest things we cannot handle well. So the key to taking charge of our life, summary of first chapter, is take charge of our mind and our internal environment. Then entire external will fall in line. And we saw the way of doing this through healthy mindsets. We learned some tips for happier living with respect to certain of the circumstances that we face outside. So we saw a healthier mindset with which we can transact with our colleagues at work, friends. We also saw it in the circumstance of a partner at the home. And we also saw tips on how to interact in a healthier way with our children. One or two small pointers we saw. And these can begin the effect of positive transactions, which can snowball into all other circumstances. So this much we've seen in the last class. The class previous to that, we saw one other step. That in dealing with all of these things, what I need to first do is explore the mechanism of function of this mind itself. And so we had explored the mind. Why the mind acts this way. What is the mind seeking for, and how can I bring that mind and make it be my best friend instead of allowing it to become my worst enemy, as Bhagavan says in Bhagavad Gita. That mind itself can be the worst antagonist because it sits right here continuously providing the opportunity for harassment more than anyone else around. So we saw through these tips how we can turn this mind into our own best friend instead of our own worst enemy. And so with this foundation, now that we have learned how to take charge of our mind and our life, we go into the second chapter. Now that I've taken charge, I have to perform now. Chapter 2 is entitled Perform to Potential. So this chapter will teach us how to maximize our potential in our transactions. Now in chapter 2, one of the most profound pieces of advice given to us here is find that thing that makes you want to live your best life. Find that thing that makes you want to get out of bed every morning, eager and ready to dive into it. And one of the best points made here is that thing that can make us live that life of inspiration and dynamism. First important thing, it does not have to be your job. Because many of us may say, I want to live a life of dynamism, but now you're telling me I have to find that thing that I love, and I'm stuck in this job. This is not what I love. Maybe I loved it when I started. Now it has become so tiresome, but I have family to take care of. I have to keep this job. So we're not saying quit your job and go pursue what you love. It doesn't have to be like that. That thing that you love can be something that you practice once a week. Once a week when I go to temple, this particular seva I love doing. Once a week when I meet with my friends, maybe I know that I'm very good at giving advice. My friends have told me when it comes to life circumstances, somehow I'm good at showing them the bigger picture, showing them how not to sweat the small stuff, and opening their minds up to a higher perspective on things. And so they come to me for life and spiritual advice. And because of that, I love that so much that I go watching inspirational videos and reading books on how to uplift myself and others. And I found my passion in that thing. It does not have to be the job that you do every day. It can be something that you do randomly when others come to you, or that I've chosen to do once a week, some study group, some class that I just enjoy sharing my thoughts in. The point is just find that one thing. It does not have to take over your whole life, but it's that one thing that when you're doing it, it will inspire you to connect to something higher. And you find your true potential in that. Once that potential starts to express out of you through that thing, it will begin to extend into the other faculties of your life. So I'll give you an example of this now. Personal example now from my own life. I used to practice medicine before. And there were times when, even though I knew it was a noble profession, it's a very nice thing to do to help mankind, there were times when I felt like my heart was not 100% into it. Some nights I would work full night shift, wake up the next morning so tired, and it's exhausting. Sometimes working in ICU, particularly pediatric ICU, it can completely exhaust you. And I wake up the next morning and I think, do I have to do this? I'm so tired. You know, I had those experiences where that life that I had chosen did not seem so fulfilling. But the moment that I made the decision, I am going to Bharat Mata, I am going to study scriptures in the land of this holy knowledge where it arose. I'm going to sit at the feet of the Guru and study in the language of the gods, Devanagari, Samskrita Bhasha. All of a sudden, in that moment, I rediscovered my passion for life. And it has been 2.5 years in Mumbai. 1 year since I took Naishtik Brahmacharya Diksha. So 3.5, going on 4 years now. And I can still live with that same enthusiasm, that same love is still there. A similar number of years that I would have practiced pediatrics before, by which time I had already begun to become a bit despondent about career and so on. Similar number of years, but now I still have so much enthusiasm because I found that thing that brought out the best in me. This is an opportunity for us. We have to find that thing that inspires us in this way. When we find that thing in life that brings out this best in us, we will know it. See, sometimes I would work until midnight shift, then have to wake up at least by 6 to get to work for 8. And I would say, oh, I don't want to wake up. Now if I'm preparing lessons and I see 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, I'm still preparing for class the next day. I'm so happy to stay up and do that. Then I have to get up 4 a.m. the next day, Brahma Muhurta. I have to do your Sandhya Vandana. I don't mind. I wake up happily. What can I do today? I'm happy that I have the opportunity to study scripture all day. Similar circumstance, having to go to bed at midnight, wake up, not even at 4, at 6, I could wake up when I was working. But that would seem tiresome. Now I have to wake up at least by 4:30. I'm happy to do it. Why? I found that thing that I love. And for each of us, it can be something different. Once Swamiji had given us a story. He said when he was in white still, before he had taken yellow or orange, he went to one Jyotisha. Now we know how us Indians, we love to go to Jyotishas and see what's in my future. So his parents sent him because maybe they weren't too happy with the choices that they knew he was going to make his life of sannyasa. What is this child doing? So he went. Jyotisha looked at his chart and said, this decision which it looks like I feel you're going to make, I see in your chart, you will never have the opportunity to wake up after 4 a.m. any day for the rest of your life. Never. You will have, there's no weekend now, I want to sleep every single day for the rest of your life. I see you will never wake up after 4 a.m. Are you sure you're ready for this? And his answer was brilliant. He said, I'd rather wake up 4 a.m. to do this than to do something else. I'd rather wake up 4 a.m. to study scripture than to change my baby's diaper or have to go to work or do something else. I found my love in this. You find that thing that makes you want to wake up at 4 a.m. It doesn't have to be something spiritual. Some people want to wake up at 4 a.m. because they're so enthusiastic about their work. Some mothers want to wake up at 4 a.m. They may say, this is what I've been dreaming about my whole life. And I can wake up 4 a.m. and change my baby's diaper. This is the whole reason why I got married, just so I can have this moment that I can wake up at 4 a.m. just to change my baby's diaper. And they're so happy. They found their potential in that. And when that mother is there at that hour of the morning, she doesn't think, oh, look at the hour. She thinks, this is my baby. This is my Krishna. And she connects to something higher. In that moment, she will perform to potential. We live in a society where people say, oh, you're just a housewife. If you don't have a degree, they think you're not optimal. Because she is a mother, and because she has chosen that as her potential, she will give that child the opportunity, performing her duty that well. That child will become that doctor or lawyer or whatever else people think is worth something. And only because that mother was able to put that effort into that child. Because she found the thing that she loved in motherhood, in being a homemaker. And that is the thing that allowed her to perform to potential and bring out the best in her family. It does not have to be your job. For those of us who can find it in our job, it's a wonderful thing. My brother, for instance, he doesn't have to wake up at 4 a.m., but he's up at 4 a.m. every day going to the office early. His job finishes at 5, he'll reach home at 10. His wife says, "What do you do? You have 2 babies, come home and spend time with us. Why are you working such long hours? You don't get paid overtime." He said, "I love my job. I just love what I do." And because of that, he will perform to potential. When you do that, others notice. You get promotions faster. At his age now, 40 engineers under him taking instructions. Why? Because he does what he loves, and therefore he performs to potential. And therefore the best comes out of us. It doesn't have to be in a spiritual field. It can be your job. It doesn't have to be your job. It can be being a good mother. You find that one thing that brings this out of you. You grab that and you make that into your gold. You perfect your practice of that. Puja Gurudev used to say, without a goal, the best in us can never come out into expression. When we find that thing that brings out the best in us, we notice one thing. Inevitably, it seems to be a thing that is in harmony with a higher purpose in life. How do we know when we find that thing? It's that thing that when we do it, we feel as though we are tuning to the field around us. And while you're transacting in it, and while you're executing in harmony with the field, you begin to tap into the master of the field. You can feel that potential rising out of you, that connection comes. So this is our tip for today. This is our sadhana. You sit quietly now. Okay, not now, after the class. You sit quietly, and in your mind, you find that thing that makes you feel like when I'm doing this, I can tune to the field around me. I can connect to something higher during this. Some of you may already know what it is, but we let the distractions of life take over. I love this thing, so let me finish my work first, and then I'll do this. The work never finishes. We are karma yogis. We are karma pradhana, being jivas. Rajoguna, we'll always find some work to do. We have to make an effort. I'm putting aside time to do this thing that I love. Do as much work as needs to be done. Find time to do this. I'm putting aside 5 minutes a day to sit in meditation. I'm putting aside 1 hour on the weekend to attend that class that I love, or to spend time in the company of those that I love to bring them up in a certain way. Whatever you love, find the time to make that a priority from here on. And find your way to make yourself connect with something higher while you're executing it. It's there in you already. The main point of this is that when we're able to connect with that thing that's higher in you, by doing that particular task, you're able to bring that potential out right from within you yourself. And the beauty of that is that if the potential is within me, then that is something that every single one of us has. Many times in life, we feel despondent and we think only the chosen few are born to succeed. And I am not one of them. I am not one of the Bill Gates or Mark Zuckerberg or the Neil Armstrong or the president of the country. I am not born to be one of those things. And you think, I'm not born to succeed in that way. But ask yourself, are you interested in computer science or politics or astrology or any of astronomy, any of those other things that these people have found their enthusiasm in? No, you have your own interests. We don't have to look at them and say, I'm not born to be like that. You're born to be like you. Each one of us has a purpose for which we were born. Don't look at others. You find that thing that brings that out of you. And we can't say, I'm not bright enough. I don't have the potential to do that. I don't have the physical ability. There are people like Stephen Hawking, cannot walk, cannot even speak. We're not talking about his religious ideas. Let's look at his scientific ideas. Look at what he's been able to do in the field of science. He cannot even pick himself up or speak on his own. But look at what he can do. Whenever we feel limited or incapable, it is a projection of our own mind. This is our own imagination. Man is the roof and crown of creation. We're the highest rung of evolution. We have within us the infinite potential to perform in whatever field we were born to perform in. We have the ability to tap into that and the freedom to do so. But not until we believe that we can. Then we are truly free to do so. And then we actually do. So this is what we have to find. Every time I feel like I'm not the one who's born to succeed in that way, you remember what scripture has told us. And what Shastra has said is given in one aphorism, main aphorism of this chapter also. It says, Swatantrata. Swatantrata manushya janmano visheshata. That swatantrata, that freedom of action, that free will is the specialty of human life. Visheshata, that is the specialty of this birth that you were given. Freedom of knowledge, freedom of will, freedom to act. My birthright as a human is this freedom. And this is something that every single person is eligible and capable of this kind of success. Because it is my birthright. We have that freedom in us to choose wisely which area is it that speaks to me. But this freedom, we have to understand that. Freedom is a double-edged sword. You choose freedom without intelligence and you say, I'm free to do anything and free to act however I want to, you waste your life. Freedom must be on the foundation of intelligence. That's why we attend classes. That's why we say dig deep within. Freedom with intelligence can lead us to perform to potential. Freedom without intelligence can destroy us. So double-edged sword, be careful with this one. But that freedom, and this freedom of thought we need to look at carefully, because many of us think, even though I'm free to do what I want, society has certain expectations of me. And only certain things are good to do, and only certain things are socially acceptable and acceptable in my family. This is where viveka comes in, discriminatory wisdom. You have to think intelligently and factor in all aspects. Freedom doesn't mean you just do as you will. That is licentiousness, as Gurudev has said. But you find in your heart that thing that you are meant to do. And you find a way to do it that is conducive to all around us. This is true freedom and intelligent thinking. Find that thing that lives up to your standard. You don't have to live up to everyone else's standard. This is true freedom. That kind of freedom is your birthright. And from that, you will connect to the higher within yourself. We find that those things that bring out the best in us are those that are linked to some higher potential, meaning that that task that I perform in the immediate has a way of unfolding my path to the ultimate. And we need to find that freedom is my birthright. Moksha is the destiny of every single jiva, bar none. And so I have to find that thing in me that brings this out and makes me perform to such potential that it can catapult me to the higher level. Mahatma Gandhi ji was but a timid, unsuspecting scrawny, tiny little India. No one would have looked at him twice. But he found in himself that passion for his downtrodden countrymen. And through non-violent resistance, he stood up, this small, frail one who thinks, maybe I was not born for that kind of success. He stood up and his voice echoed across the country. Across India, everyone heard his words. Across another continent, in Africa, Nelson Mandela stood with him. From east to west, Martin Luther King Jr. in the United States would stand with him on principle. His voice echoed through space, across continents, through time, for generations to come. They would know the ideal that he stood for. We have the potential within us to lift ourselves by ourselves. Full potential to perform. We have to search ourselves, discover our inner resources, recognize our purpose for being born, each of us. Then plan out your work and work out your plan. This way Gurudev used to say. With this mind and intellect, these hands itself, performing to potential is not some far off goal to be achieved. It's right here in me, myself. We can empower ourselves to bring that out. Puja Gurudev used to say, realize you are what you seek. There's no need to go out there. Go in here and pull that thing out of yourself. Now the question comes to us, why is it that I have not been able to discover my potential yet? And there's one nice answer we can postulate for this. It's because I have not found my thirst for life. So there's a joke Guruji gives where he says, this big, strong policeman has to chase after this very tiny looking thief and catch him. And somehow the thief gets away. So someone comes and says, you're so huge and strong. How did you let that little thief run away? He said, listen, I was running for my job. Okay, it's my duty to run after him. He was running for his life. His incentive was much greater. So he escaped. This is us right now. We have to find that thing that makes us run for our life. That thing that makes us feel like my life energy is in that. And I want it. Right now we're operating at a phase where these are my duties, let me do it. Even if we're that big and strong, we will never live up to our potential. But when we find that thing that we feel our thirst in, we feel like our life is expressing through that, then even if we're tiny and small, we will outrun that biggest police officer. It means we will find a way to achieve things that we never thought was possible. When we find our thirst in life. The problem is this modern secular educational system is one that does not foster that ability to seek thirst for life. In fact, it almost brainwashes us into becoming a cog in the wheel of society. You must go to primary school. You must go to high school. You must go to university after that. If you don't have a degree, your worth is apparently suboptimal somehow. And even when you go to university, they tell you how to study, what to study, and how to apply this in your field later on in life. We go about our entire life just regurgitating what we've learned before. With, of course, a little bit of our own experience and our own flavor added into it, but not much. Because this is what life is supposed to be. The framework is set. We're taught how to do it, and we have to do it this way. And we're so set in this mindset, we don't even think differently. We go along with the entire process, never even stopping to think. They take us to the water and we have to drink. You've heard this phrase, you can take the horse to the water, but you can't force him to drink. We don't even think of being forced to drink. We just think we're taken to the water, we have to drink, because this is what life is supposed to be. And we live our whole life acting in this way. The job of educators and parents, our job It's not to lead our children or our colleagues or our friends. It's not to lead them to the water, but rather it should be to create that thirst in them. Open our eyes and show us the potential for what lays undiscovered in the world out there. Show us what we can unearth from within ourselves and give us that enthusiasm to want to find it and bring it out of ourselves. When we create that thirst in ourselves, this one brilliant thing I heard said, you create thirst in someone and they will go searching for water themselves. When they find it, they will never stop drinking. We don't need to lead anyone. Create thirst. Your own potential will beam out of you. This is the core of performing to potential. What we see from this is that performing to potential isn't all about bringing in things externally. If I do this thing, I can increase my worth. If I do this particular degree, this course, if I get this promotion, I'm increasing my potential, I'm building up my potential and my worth out there. It's not about those external things. True potential is that which comes out from within me. It doesn't have to be a job. It doesn't even have to be something spiritual. But it's when I can utilize the immediate to link me to the ultimate. Every task should be a task which can link me to spirituality in some way or another and bring out my best from within. In this way, we can truly perform to potential. So these are the main ideas of this second chapter in summary. Now that we know what performing to potential in our secular life, in our transactional life, what is being advised. So we have one sadhana for this week, one tip that we sit and we find that thing. We find a way to make it a part of our life every week. And don't let the opportunity flit away. Utilize what you have inside, sit and discover it, bring it out, and live your best life from that. But on this foundation now, we need to take it higher, to a different step. So I'm going to add another thought to this. So this is not contained within this chapter of the texts, but coming later, these ideas come out more. But we've been together for 1 month now, so there should be a certain amount of comfort. We've talked about vyavaharik life a bit, so let's take it to another step. So for those who have the appetite for a little more, we're going to go into a different level of performing to potential. For those who don't have the appetite for it, just sit back, relax, aram se, just enjoy satsang. For those who want a little more, let's look at one other aspect. So we've seen transactional life. Our shastras can be divided in many different ways. One of the divisions is Dharma Shastra and Adhyatma Shastra. Dharma Shastra teaches us how to live a good life, how to live up to our potential. Dharma Shastra is what Puja Guruji is teaching us in this text, how to live our best transactional life. Adhyatma Shastra takes us one step beyond. How does Vyavahara, transactional life, help to create a medium to Paramartha, to me achieving my actual highest potential that I was born to achieve? The purpose of human life is moksha. And all of these activities are actually building up my qualifications and my purity of mind for that final pursuit, actually. So for a few minutes, let's explore Adhyatma Shastra and what it tells us about our true, performing to our true potential, the ultimate potential. In Vivekachudamani it says, Durlabham trayamevaitat devanugraha hetukam manushyatvam mumukshutvam mahapurusha samshrayah. Durlabham, difficult it is to achieve what? Trayamevaitat, these three things. What are these three very difficult things to achieve? Manushyatvam, human birth. Mumukshutvam, a desire for some higher pursuit in life, which will take me to liberation. And Mahapurusha Samshraya, the ability, the privilege to have a guru in my life. The Mahatmas that can give me that knowledge, open up within me my potential to perform. How much do you all have of these? Durlabha, these three difficult things. Manushyatva, we all have human birth. Mumukshutva, desire for the higher. If you didn't have it, you wouldn't be here today. Full stop, you have it. The degree of it, of course, can be increased. That's our sadhana. Mahapurusha Samshraya, the ability to have gurus in our life. We are in Chinmaya mission. We are in Brahma Vidya Sampradaya. Many temples or organizations are not Brahma Vidya Pradhana. Our organization is based in the knowledge and teaching. We're blessed to have gurus, swamis teach us. Swami Ramakrishna just completed a yajna with us. First time I've heard Swamiji speak. I had joined Chinmay Mission only a couple years before I went to Sandipuri, so I had not been exposed to so many of our Swamijis. Now I'm learning from them. Swami Ramakrishna so beautifully explained Bhagavatam. So many amazing concepts, so clear. We have these Mahatmas, these great Swamis with us that can teach us so much. Every week a new one you can learn. Videos are online, easily accessible. We have been blessed. We have Mukhya Swamiji, Puja Guruji, Gurudev before that. Our Sampradaya goes up to Tapovan Maharaji, the jewel of the Himalayas. Bhagavan Shankaracharya Ji, his Sanskrit bhashas explain to us all of scripture, which is so difficult to understand. We're blessed that we have commentaries that we can read from him to understand the highest knowledge. All the way up to Adi Guru, the first Guru, Dakshinamurti. Sadashiva Samarambham, Shankaracharya Madhyamam, Asmadacharya Paryantam, Vande Guru Paramparam. We have been blessed. What are we doing with this opportunity that so few have? In Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan Shri Krishna talks about this. Amongst thousands, one perchance will have the opportunity at this knowledge and will strive for perfection. Even among those successful strivers, only one perchance will come to know the ultimate essence and realize. Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschit yatati siddhaye yatatam api siddhayam kaschin mam veti tattvataha. One amongst thousands. He says in another chapter, it's a wonder, Ascharyavat. It's a wonder that one speaks of this. It's a wonder to even see this knowledge in action. It's a wonder that we hear of it. And the real wonder is that after having heard it, none understands it. Not one in 1,000 will actually get it. He says, Ascharyavat pasyati kasyadenam, Ascharyavat vadati tatheva chanyaha, Ascharyavat manyat shrinoti, Shrutvapyenam vedana chaiva kashrita. Ashcharyavat, it is a wonder. 1 in 1,000 will look for this. You are that 1 in 1,000 who are seeking. What is the world's population? Well, decreasing significantly since COVID. But even among these numbers, you are 1 in 1,000. We have that potential within us. We have been given these 3 durlabham, these 3 difficult things that are there to attain. We let our impulsive distractions of life take us away from performing to potential. Don't let it happen. We have the ability within us and we need to, instead of being distracted by the world, instead of being led by our vasanas, in Yoga Vasishta, Guru Vasishta tells Sri Rama, there are 2 paths. You redirect your vasanas from Ashubha vasanas to Shubha vasanas. Shubha Shubhabhyam Margabhyam. You rechannel those vasanas. Rechannel your energy into a more creative, fruitful, and meaningful channel. Harness your ability and come to realize that greatest potential is actually right here within us. Edmund Hillary said what? I did not conquer Mount Everest. I conquered myself. This is where we have to discover the higher the goal that we put forth for us to achieve is the greater the potential that will manifest out of us to meet those obstacles that come. The obstacles from outside as well as within. Atma is our true identity. Don't get lost in the game. This game is only to prepare us and build our foundation strong enough for that pursuit. Atma is our true identity, and we have been given all of the tools for its realization in this birth itself. Ask yourself, I ask myself, am I living up to my potential? Am I living, or am I committing spiritual suicide? In Ishavasya Upanishad, it's called Atma Hanaha. The killers of the selves, the ones who slay their own soul. Ishavasya Upanishad speaks of those who single-handedly drown themselves in that abyss of darkness by what? By identifying with this body, its relations and vagaries. The embodiment of turbulence, which we call a mind, we nurture lovingly and keep it. This is my mind, all my turbulence, all my erroneous notions. I love them so much. And this intellect has phenomenal power, and we misappropriate it in solidifying this love, this obsession for our identification with this limited being. Don't do it. We have more potential than we can ever know right in here. But we keep delaying because we keep saying there's time. Keep being distracted by it. When I get these things done, and me myself also, let me get rid of Saturday class has to come, let me prepare nicely. Sunday, all day, Bal Bihar, so many things I have to prepare. After that, I'll do my sadhana. No, I have to find that strength in myself. Do not be the slayer of my own soul. Put that time aside for my sadhana. I have to find the ability within myself to keep my mind where it should be. This idea that there's time is what is taking away my life. And we keep wasting time because of that. There's one quote Puja Guruji gives that I love to quote. He says, you don't waste time, you waste yourself. Stop wasting yourself. You know, once someone asked Puja Gurudev, he said, Gurudev, have you crossed over? Have you transcended this ocean of mundane existence and entered into those hallowed doors of the blissful beyond? You know what Gurudev said? He said, I am standing at the doorway, but I will not enter until I have taken every single one of you with me. Why are we making him wait? We have the ultimate ability within us. We have to stop wasting our lives. And we have gurus who have helped bring this thing out of us. In praise to them, we have to live this way. And we all do it already, in our transactional life. A mother cooks, washes, and cleans, but her kataksha drishti, her side view is always on that baby. Is baby okay? Baby fine? Okay, good, no problem. We have to live in life like this. While bodily mother is doing all of her chores, her heart is binded there to that child. Body and mind, we can execute all of our duties in life, keep our heart binded to the ultimate. When we act in this way, work becomes worship. Duty is God. when we live in this bhava, then we will truly perform to potential and realize the highest potential, actually. So this is one step higher that we can look at in performing to potential. So this much we'll share today. And we reflect on it now. See how we can include this into our life from this week on. We'll do Purnamada now. And if there's questions, everyone will be open to asking their questions. Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. So for those who need to leave, thank you so much for joining us for Satsang. Hope we see you next week. Please feel free to go on to your duties. For those who would like to stay for question and answer, you're welcome to join us for the next 15 minutes. We'll open the floor now. Uncle, we can allow participants to unmute themselves. If there's anyone,
That is correct.
If there's anyone who has a question now, you can raise your hand. Let me scroll through the pages and then we'll choose and you can ask for yourself. Let's see if there's any questions. Okay, yes. Shrivani Amma, please.
Yeah, Hari Om.
Hari
I
Om.
wanted to ask this to Swami Ramakrishnananda ji because there were too many questions. I didn't want to take up his time, so I'm just going to ask you this. Please pardon me for that.
Sure, Amma. My answer will not live up to Swami Ramakrishnananda ji's, but I'll try.
Okay, I'm going to talk like him. Happy, oh, happy with many names. So, but I was thinking, I'd listened to one of his lectures on what is happiness in Brahmanandam. And I was thinking, as a karma yogi, we do experience on earth Brahmanandam for a very, very short time. So when we are in that, can we just live in this Maya, stuck here, seeking one Brahmanandam, mini Brahmanandam to the other, and not think about what is beyond Maya and Brahman?
Nice question, Amma. So first to begin with, what we experience in life that we think is Brahmananda is Vishayananda. Vishaya means objects. It's actually Objectananda. It may be highest form of Objectananda. Sometimes when we tap and we really feel we're connecting, but it is still objectified Ananda. Amma, your Brahmananda you are experiencing right now, it never leaves you. Actually, what happens is we cannot turn our attention inward to see it. This is first point. We've had that experience where we're on our cell phone, we're sending messages, someone else is there speaking to us. We don't even hear what they're saying, right? Afterwards, when they say, okay, you say, were you saying something? I didn't even, so distracted by that cell phone that we're doing, right? Did that person go away? Were they not there? No, they were there speaking, expressing the whole time. My distraction was so much, I didn't even know they were there. I didn't even hear what they said. I am Brahman, 24/7, never leaves. I am so distracted by the cell phone of life, responsibilities, family, duties, that Brahman is expressing, it's speaking like that person, expressing its Ananda 24/7. I'm too distracted, I don't even hear what it's saying. We don't have to go beyond Maya to somehow come to that Brahmananda. Advaita Vedantins don't believe in Videha Mukta at some point. We don't even believe in Jivan Mukta in reality. Actually, we believe Nitya Mukta. I am eternally Brahman. I'm eternally free. That bliss is in me all the time. And that's why I point to this sadhana, finding that thing that brings out your potential. Because in that moment, you'll be able to turn inward and you will tap that Brahmananda. It will be expressed through your mind as a feeling of happiness. And so it expresses as Vijnanamaya Kosha or Manomaya Kosha Ananda, happiness of the mind or intellect. At that point, when you feel that, it becomes Vishaya Ananda, experienced Ananda. But in Taittiriya Upanishad, it speaks about the 5 koshas and how each one is linked into the other and pervades the ones below. Anandamaya kosha pervades all of the other koshas, all of the other sheets. And therefore, that Brahmananda will express through Vijnana and Manomaya, through the mind and intellect. And therefore, we feel that joy. What we're doing is just tapping into that ultimate. We're not even getting in there properly yet. In a text called Panchadashi, it said Brahmanande Vishayananda. But through Vishayananda, and this is the key point in this chapter also, so perfect question, Amma. Through Vishayananda, you tap Brahmananda. Through finding that thing that brings out your potential, you can tap into that higher. And every bit of happiness that comes in the world around me is just a drop of that Brahmananda peeking itself out, showing this is what Brahmananda can actually be like. This is a drop of it. It's like Brahmananda is that reservoir. The tap is down here flowing slowly. And from that tap, we drink some of the water and we think, I'm so cool and relaxed and calm. My thirst is fulfilled. Every bit of Vishayananda that we get is just to entice us to say, this feels so nice. So that thing that you're saying you experience, Amma, where you experience that bliss sometimes, that's a drop coming from the tap. Can you imagine what that Brahmananda actually is? So this is the point. When you find that sadhana, you asked, can we experience it and then continue in Maya? We are experiencing it constantly while in Maya. Use this sadhana, finding your highest potential, to turn your attention into what's it, intermittently. And slowly, slowly, it will take you to the point where more and more frequently I'll be able to identify it. And then eventually, like the Mahatmas, I'll be able to live in it 24/7. Just practice. Just keep bringing the thought. What did we learn in first chapter? Guruji said, Abhyasa. Abhyasa. Through practicing it, it will come more and more. So I hope this answers your question, Amma. Any other questions? Okay, I'm not seeing any more hands. Let me just check. Okay. Ramachandraji, uncle, did anyone send any typed questions in?
Not yet. Remember, everyone, you can still write us or put the question on your chat, and we will make sure that Jyoti ji gets it. And you are welcome to ask the question again.
If any question even comes up during the week and you all want to email it to us, then you can do that also. Okay, well, I think we had one nice question, so that much actually brought the topic together very nicely.
We have one Manju Mazumdar wanting to ask question. Manju ji, can you also switch on your video, please?
Yes.
There you go. Yeah, go ahead.
So my question is, how do I know the spark? Like what am I made for? What am I passionate about? I'm still struggling to find out what I am.
So this is a good question. This is one we have to discover within ourselves. So first step is my potential, that thing I was born to do, only I will know, or someone who knows me well, means a partner or a guru. So utilize, if you can't figure it out for yourself, utilize those around you who can tell you, I see this light in your eyes when you express this thing. Others around can help us unfold our greatest potential. But the main thing you have to do is search yourself first. So first tip for that, we can't find the higher until our mind is in a higher place. So mind has to be in a place of sattva first. So you take one day when you're relaxed, maybe Saturday morning off from work, You wake up early, Brahma Muhurta hour, if you can, 4 o'clock, 4:30. You take bath, you do your puja, you be in that bhava of sattva. Mind is clear at that time. The world is quiet, all distractions have gone away. And you sit in that bhava. And that sattvic mind, you meditate. You will see what it reveals to you. You can find your potential in those moments when mind is most sattvic. So this is the first bit of advice I can offer for finding it. You will still have to find it within yourself. I can't tell you what it is, but I can help give you advice as to how to make your mind conducive enough to find it within yourself. And for 1 or 2 mornings, you sit and you meditate in that way and you see what comes. You search yourself. We often don't spend enough time just going within. There's a whole world inside here. It's really beautiful. Go inside and you will find it yourself, I'm telling you. If not, partners, gurus can really help bring that out of you. I wasn't sure. When I was younger, I was the quietest, most introvert, most innocent little girl. I wouldn't speak at all. Even if I knew the correct answer in class, I would never even raise my hand to give the answer. Even if the teacher called on me, sometimes I would be quiet until they pulled the answer out of me. When I went to Sandipani, my guru found a way. He almost reached into me and pulled that potential out. I couldn't find that myself. But my guru was able to unearth out of me. I knew it was there and I didn't know how to tap it. Gurus have a way of bringing things out of you that you not that you never knew, that you knew is there, but you just don't know how to. And I will forever fall at the feet of my guru for what my acharya was able to bring out of me. If someone said I would be sitting, speaking to people online, sharing my ideas and thoughts, I'd say never. I will run away. When you find that potential, you can do things you never thought you would have been brave enough to do. And gurus have a way of finding that. So if you have a guru, if you have some Swamiji, some Acharya, someone whose opinion you trust and whose sattva you can tell is higher than yours, you can ask their opinion also. They can help you find that potential. But sit in yourself, you will find that thing.
Thank you. I feel that since have not found it, it is that I'm doing materialistic stuff to my kids as well. Like my parents get good grades, get into engineering, earn this money, and you'll get a good job and all that. So I'm just following what my parents have done, I guess.
Which is what we've all done. And like I said, that gives the foundation. In Taittiriya Upanishad speaks about Atharva Veda, which gives predominance to secular education and the material sciences, and says, this is what you need to build your sadhana chatushtaya. This is what you need to purify your mind. But now that you've achieved those things in life, mind is purified enough to a level where it can try to tap into something higher now. So you actually have the perfect foundation to go into and find something higher. The problem is we've only spent life building that foundation. Now you know there's something else to go into. So you're perfectly set right now to sit and quietly find that thing in yourself.
Thank you.
Okay, so
we have one more question. Harsha, go ahead, unmute yourself and please.
I guess I have
Amma, your voice is very, very low. I'm not hearing. Let me send up my volume. Maybe you need to come closer.
Is that better?
Perfect. Yeah.
Okay. I may have an opposite question of the previous question. I think I like to do so many things. And I like Bal Vihar was one of them, Satsang's one of them. I have some other activities. I have family. I'm not able to manage, balance them well. I feel I'm doing my best. I'm not sad or anything, but I feel like I could do more. I just not able to manage it. So I don't know if it's too many sparks. Is that like I didn't find the right spark, or is it possible to have too many? I don't know. Should I still keep looking or try to balance what I have already found that I'm happy with?
I'm happy to get questions like this. People have too much joy in their life. That's better. Good question, Amma. So, like we said, Brahmananda, Vishayananda, you found your joy in so many things. You keep expressing. Amma, this is prarabdha. Nothing comes into your life unless it's meant to be in your life. All of these things have their role. You enjoy it as it's going. But choose one that you can really tap into, anyone. Because if you're getting joy out of all, then it's beautiful. But while you're performing each one, so each day you notice a different one. And see how you feel when you're performing those activities. And see which one of these you're able to connect with something higher within yourself the most. Which one you connect the most with. And utilize that one as your main sadhana to something higher. But if through each of them you can experience that joy, then you're almost living like the Mahatmas already. In every activity.
I don't think that's what I meant to say. I think I have so many, I want to do so many things and I'm not able to manage the time. So I'm not feeling that I'm doing my best. So that's what I meant to say. I'm not a Mahatman by no means. That's what I meant to ask actually.
No. This is the key of Vyavahar actually. We'll have to learn how to master every aspect of our life. Increase Viveka. When you increase Viveka, that ability will come within you to prioritize. Don't think that you're doing too much. Actually, the human potential is amazing. So what Gurudev used to do, Gurudev slept for 3 hours, wrote letters, gave pravachans, did discourses, flew around the world. You know what you can do, Amma? Take one book of the life of a master and begin reading a little bit. When you see the way these Mahatmas lived and the amount that they did, you realize the way you're living is in tune with the way they live, and it will give you the inspiration to continue doing as much as you're doing, and it will also give you tricks as to how to maximize your potential in each one. You don't have to do the best by others' standards. You have to do your own best in that circumstance. And if your best means that while I know I can do 100% in this thing, because I know I have that 100% potential, and I know I have 100% of good ideas in this thing also. But if I have to do all 5 together, I may only be able to give 80 here, 60 there, and 40 there. Performing to potential doesn't mean you have to give 100 in each. You use your viveka, choose which ones require which potentials. Put 100% into your family, your children. Put a great percent into Bal Vihar because that's other people's children. You are influencing other lives that are coming up. Certain other ones you'll be able to drop your percentage. We may not be able to yet give 100% in everything, but that doesn't mean that we cannot do everything. Through Viveka, we will know which needs to be dropped now and taken back up later, which I need to, or if I need to continue doing, or how to divide my percentages. All of this is just good Viveka. So you utilize it that way. And then you stop and you say, okay, do these percentages add up? Am I okay with giving this much here? Is this one important enough to give this much percentage? And then you sit and you say, I am okay with this. A lot of feeling like you're not giving what you're supposed to is you internally feeling like you're not okay with what you're doing. You need to make yourself okay with it. That's the main thing.
Thank you so
When you feel like, yes, this is the right percentages for everything, you'll execute happily. Do your best. And then leave the rest, as Gurudev said. I hope this helps.
Thank you. It does. Thank you, Jyoti.
Okay, so time is over.
Yeah, Jyoti, Shrivaniji and Harsha are our Balvihar teachers. And next one, Saujanya is also Balvihar teacher, but do we have time? It's 4 past 12. Can we take one more question?
I wouldn't want to keep back others. So for those who want to leave, we'll let others leave. And if those 3 would like to stay back, I can speak with them. Or if anybody else who has the time and would like to stay back, you're welcome to. But I don't want to keep anyone else, beyond time. So let me do a small prayer, we close, and whoever wants to stay can stay, okay? Om Shri Chinmaya Satgurave Namaha.
Yes, Saujanya, you want to unmute yourself and ask the question, please?
Yes, thank you, Ramji, and Hariom to all, and Hariom Jyoti ji. My question here is, do we realize this, that we love something, that we really love to do this, and we want to do this as first thing in the morning, and I don't mind getting up 4 o'clock or even early in the morning to do this. Is there a right age to realize that? And will that change according to the stages of life?
Okay, it's a very good question. So, different ashramas, so we have the 4 ashramas of life. Your different ashrama will have a different dharma associated with each one. In your brahmacharya ashrama, first stage of life, your primary goal is studying. So if you're asking even for your children, if your children should have a higher purpose or so on, or you, in that first stage, primary study, if that's all they're doing, then that's fine. Unless a child comes to you and expresses that desire, that they want something more, then you channel it along those lines. And if they don't, there's no need. That's their primary dharma. As you come to the end of that brahmacharya ashram into grihastha ashram, that's when these ideas of performing to potential and wanting to do more with your life and so on will come out. So that's the age where this question will really apply. Amma, can you just say your question again? Let me make sure I'm going along the right line.
Jyoti ji, can you please repeat?
Just tell me your question again. I want to make sure I'm going along the right line.
Okay. The question is, at what age do we realize this, and will it change according to the stages in our life? Like, at what will it change?
So this can come at any point in life, like I said. So if a child expresses that desire to want to do something of higher potential, you encourage it and you channel it. So even if a child likes going to Bala Vihar, you can experiment with it. You can ask them questions. Why do you like this? What do you like about it? And you instill higher thoughts in them using that process. Then they can use that to connect to something higher. At your own level, in your age, so usually in that brahmacharya, transitioning into grihastha ashram, that's when we need to find this thing. Because otherwise life starts to feel like I'm not living the life I'm supposed to live. I'm not living up to potential. There are many different types of people in this life. There are those who will live their entire life never even having this thought awaken in their mind that I can do something higher with my life. So they're at one level. So you can't go and tell those people you should have a higher purpose in life. Bhagavan in Bhagavad Gita says, do not disturb the minds of those who are at that level. Leave them. They will evolve with time. So this question only applies to those who want a higher purpose in life. The purpose of this performing to potential is that it should be engaging something that will connect us, provide a medium to connect us to that path to moksha. So we begin pursuing this in that grihastha phase, coming out of brahmacharya into grihastha phase. So yes, it should come at that age. And at that point, you need to search yourself to find it within yourself. It can change with time. It cannot change with time. This thing is only to provide a medium. That's why I said it can be your job. It cannot be your job. It can be something spiritual. It cannot be something spiritual. Anything. Remember, this entire creation is Brahman in manifest form. Anything here can help you to tap your highest potential. Any activity. From the work of the garbage man to the work of the neuroscientists. It's all just karma. Entire of life, when we do all activities, it comes down to punya and papa points. That's all. A mother will get 5,000 punya points for taking care of a child well. A neuroscientist will get that same 5,000 punya points for providing something that can save the world. At the end of the day, next lifetime, they both come as 5,000 punya points. Doesn't matter what field you were in. So this is the main thing. It may change with time, it may not change with time. The exact thing that you're doing doesn't matter. It's the ability of it to create that positivity within you that makes you want to connect to something higher. And that's why it's that thing you have to find in yourself. That much. So it's a very broad field. I don't want to hone down on one answer because this thing is finding your own potential. So you really can't give someone one way of finding their potential. It has to come out of you. And you have free reign. It can change with age. It cannot change with age. It can start at a certain age. Doesn't matter. It's up to you. You find your potential.
Yes, Jyoti ji. Thank you so much.
Okay. Uncle, there's more questions?
No, we don't have any now. Probably they will email me or we'll figure it out later. Okay.
Okay, good. Okay, thank
Thank
you
you
all.
so much, Jyoti.
Those of you who stay back, and we'll see you next week.
Hari Om. Hari Om.
Shubha Navratri. Hari Om.
Shubha Navratri.
Hari Om.